spoken in front of like a lot of people, and you guys are by far the best looking group. So first of all, I want to give a shout out to Hostilla, who donated $5,700 for me to wear their shirt. Every year I auction off myself, I'll wear your shirt throughout the conference. And so they bid it up this year, $5,700, which actually takes us over $40,000 now in the last 3 years for the shirt. You know, and it's been really awesome to work with the Affiliate Summit and raise money on with their affiliate marketers, give back and work with them on that. So that's really cool. So this thanks to Hostilla for doing that. So I'm Jeremy Shoemaker, you know, and better known as Shoemoney. This event is really special to me because it marks the 50th time I've spoken at an event, and it's going to be the last. Okay, so that's why when I pitched Missy on the whole, you know, do you mind if I do a keynote? I'd love to do one because I gave one several years ago at Isaiah Fest, and I didn't think it went very well. So I was like, I need to redeem myself a little bit. So I'm an affiliate marketer, and a pretty good one, I think. And so I have a blog at shoemoney.com, and the blog, when I first did it, I've been writing it for 9 years, averaged about a post a day, slowed down a little bit lately, but you know, over 9 years, one post a day, I've currently got over 2,500 published posts. And in the blog, I basically, you know, try to share my experiences with people about how, you know, as I was discovering things and how to make money online. And when I first wrote it, nobody ever came. It was, you know, and I didn't care, honestly, because I was doing my own thing with affiliate marketing and all this other stuff. And so if, you know, if nobody read it, I was fine with that. And, you know, someday probably nobody will read it and I'll still be writing and plugged away. And so one day I published a check that I had made in 1 month for Google AdSense, and I actually took a picture of it because I remember Google telling me that they were no longer going to distribute checks. They would only do wires for anything over $10,000. And I was like, well, this is a cool opportunity because I could take a picture with this, and if this doesn't work out, then I'll write some book about how to make $1 bazillion with AdSense or something like that. So I took the picture, and as soon as the picture was posted, everyone starts coming to the blog, right? It was like day and night. Everyone comes because they want to know who the secret is, you know, how did I do it? It's overnight I made all this money, I think, and all that. And so one day, about 2 weeks ago, I got a call from this girl, and this isn't actually her, but it looks identical to how I remember. But so she wanted to know how my secret to make money on the internet. Just like, I get all these emails every day. Can you mentor me? Can you do all this stuff? But she just wasn't any girl, because I had actually gone to high school with this girl, and even more than that, I actually was good friends with her and wanted, you know, to actually have a relationship with her. And she was just incredible, and I just totally adored her, but she was a little bit evil. And so this was, you know, basically me in high school. I was, you know, close to 400 pounds, and she wanted to be friends and nothing more, but she completely had me wrapped around her finger. So she was basically like, you know, why don't you just buy me things and do everything I say, and I'll act like I like you. She didn't actually say that, but that's the way it went down. So I bought her clothes, you know, I bought her jewelry. I didn't have any money back then in high school. And it's constantly just denied, right? So, you know, one day she's like, you know, I really want to go to the pet store. I want to look at dogs. And you want to take me to the pet store? So I was like, okay, picked her up. Went to the pet store, and we came across this little puppy, right? This little Doberman picture. And she was just like, oh my God, this thing is awesome. And she's like, I'm going to call him Petey, and you can buy him for me. I was like, he's $250, you know, and I didn't have $250. So I went to my parents, and I was like, can you guys give me $250? Because I want to buy this dog, and I know she'll love me, and she'll understand like how much I care for her, and all this stuff. And so I went there, and so I bought the dog for her, right? And I was like, this is it, you know. So I give her the dog, and she's like, I love you, you're awesome, you know. And I'm like, yeah, this is it. And I'm like, okay, you know, let's go to the dog park tomorrow, and we'll spend all this time together. We're gonna be a couple, blah 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 blah. And you know, she's leaving me on. Everything's gonna be great. So he's gone. And I was like, what do you mean going to get hit by a car? You know, did like, I mean, what the hell happened? Did your parents make you get rid of him? She's like, no, actually, I traded him. I'm like, you traded him? Traded him for what? And she's like, I traded him for an ounce of pot. So that was not so good. So I was just starting jobs at Best Buy, so I was like, whatever, so I gotta go to work. So I got it. I'm still tagging her on Facebook, too. Anyway, the funny thing is everyone I went to high school with is going to know exactly what. So I go to Best Buy, right? And I've always been good with audio electronics. And in the audio electronics industry, there's a huge markup at Best Buy. And Best Buy has an employee purchase program where you basically pay 5% over the cost of the product. And that's, you get that. So I discovered these because I worked at home audio, and one day I'm going through the book, and I see that these speakers, the employee cost is like $75. And they sold for $390, right? So I was like, holy crap. So I wanted this receiver, and I didn't have money for it, and it was like $200 at the time. And so I was like, wow, this is an interesting opportunity, because I'm going to buy this for a friend, and I'm just going to have him take it back. So I call my friend Mario, and I'm like, you know how you're really into cassette tapes? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm going to give you a gift, and I want you to take it back to Best Buy, and I want you to exchange it for this receiver I want, you know, and then you can take whatever you want with the rest of the money. And he was like, okay. So he goes to Best Buy, and he takes it back, and they say, you know, how much was it? And he's like, I don't know, I got it for a gift. And they're like, okay, well, we can't give your money back, but we can give you store credit. He's like, okay. You know, so he gets the receiver and $190 worth of cassette tapes. And he comes out, you know, and he's just like, this is freaking awesome. Can we do this again? I'm like, yeah, that'd be cool. So, long story short, after about 50 times of doing this, I had a completely decked out home system at like 19 years old. And it was a completely awesome system. But Best Buy, unbeknownst to me, they actually had this whole investigation going on because they were missing like hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue. But it was actually like these store managers were all in cahoots, and they were unloading trucks and putting some somewhere else. And so they had like these informants like in different stores, and these guys were pretty slick. And I actually befriended one of them, and I told him about what I was doing. And he was like, wow, that's awesome, yeah, tell me more about that. And of course, so I told him everything, and well, Best Buy didn't like that. So one day I come into the office, I get this call at like 5:30 in the morning. Hey, we need you to come in and help unload the truck. I go, okay. Go in there. Hey, we need you to go up front, please, sir. Great. So they're like, you know, tell us everything you did. I'm writing it out. Bought these things as gifts 50 times. People in. So I go, and it was like actually a felony charge because it was fraudulent over a lot. So I go and I get a lawyer, and you know, and I'm like, I'm so screwed. My dad, I was like, Dad, I need some money for a lawyer. And he was like, you know what, you got yourself into this, you get yourself out of this, you know. So I borrow money, I get an attorney, and he's looking at it, and he's like, you know, Jeremy, I'm looking at this, and I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think you've broken any rules because there's nothing, you know, like you never declared a value, you never did any of this stuff. And I was like, okay, you know, but he's like, I think, well, let's play it, we can play it down to something, whatever. But we go in front of the judge, and the judge is looking at me, and I'm hoping to get like something. And the judge is like, you know, he's asking me all these questions. He's saying, well, you know, did you declare a value? Did you do this? And he's like, all this is on videotape from what I understand. They've got all these people taking this back. And he says, you know, I don't, he's like, you know, it seems to me Best Buy has no employee policy on refunds. And the people who returned it, they never declared a dollar value it was worth. In fact, Best Buy put the value on them and let them return it. So I don't think any rules or laws were broken here, and you're not guilty. announce that I was wrongfully terminated because of guilt. But then they had to implement this like nationwide change in their store policies. And basically now, maybe some of you know, you have to go there and you have to show ID when you return something, and they have to give you like the lowest price it's ever sold for and all this stuff. So sorry about that. So I'm on the phone with Melissa, who doesn't look like she did anymore in high school. In fact, it's ironic because now she's put on a little bit of weight. Okay, so she's like, tell me exactly what you do to make money, because I got to get started. I've got 5 kids by 3 different dads, and I'm on welfare. And I'm just like, wow, that's too bad. So she's like, what exactly do you do? And I said, I build sites that give value to people. I place ads in them, and then I also buy ads to send people there. And I'm talking about ads. And she's like, I bought this system years ago where I learned how to place tiny little ads in newspapers across the country. I'm like, okay, well how'd that work out? She's like, well, it didn't because I had to buy all the freaking ads and I didn't have any money for them. I'm like, okay. So it got me thinking about, back in the day in advertising, newspaper was really the first thing that people learned to copyright for sales, because you had such a limited thing to do it with, and you had to write a headline, you had to write body text, and it was the first time that really we learned how to do copywriting. People who sold things learned how to do copywriting, and that of course evolved into radio advertising, which, then you had to have a script, you still had to learn how to copy and sell stuff, but then, you also had to have voiceovers and stuff like that, and to learn how to tell a story about your product and what you're trying to convey, which of course led to video. And then you had to have a spokesperson, but you still kind of employed all these things you had learned, before, and the industry evolved. And, the internet really combines all of them, because now we have video on our sales page, we have, from the newspaper, we have great copywriting skills, and we also have audio and scripts, that comes from radio advertising. So all of that has come together on the internet, thanks to Al Dole. So Melissa, though, she's like pissed. She's on the phone. If you don't remember, I gave her a dog and she traded it for a devil's dog. But she's like, I just want to get started because I don't even have Facebook installed. And I'm like, you don't have Facebook installed? That's interesting. So she's like, so I basically just build a site, people come and buy things, and it gets delivered to them. And I'm like, well, and I said, back in the day there was the locomotive, right? And the locomotive would deliver things. It was the first way that people could buy things and get it delivered somewhere, which would go to a stagecoach, and the stagecoach would do the local delivery of the product, and that of course evolved into the car, the truck, the airplane to get it there overnight. But now with the internet, now we can even get it faster. We can download a product right now. Okay? Thanks to Al Gore. Right? So Melissa, though, she does not get it, right? I gave her the dog, traded it for weed. So she's exactly right. Tell me, I need to know the secret now and fast. How do you make money? And I said, like I tell everyone else, it's really fucking complicated. And we do all kinds of things, and it's just interesting. But I said, I'm just going to boil it down to you, and this is going to sound really blunt, but really what I do is I kind of just exploit people's passions for profit. Now that sounds pretty evil, but let's think about this for a second. And I'm going to give you one example. So in Nebraska, we have a football team, if you don't know, called the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And the people in Nebraska are so passionate about the Cornhuskers because it's all we got. Okay, we don't have a pro football team. We don't have, the closest thing is like Chicago, Kansas City, or whatever. So people are so just unbelievably passionate about the Cornhuskers. So I got to think one day, I'm going to make a buck off this, right? Off these people's termination. So I created a Cornhusker quiz. And on this quiz, there was 25 questions about the Cornhuskers where people could demonstrate, how knowledgeable they were about it. They could challenge their friends to beat them, show off, and have a special link to their page and how good they scored, if they got a perfect score, whatever. And if you were in the top 10 percentile, well, congratulations, because you won a free month subscription to Netflix. Now, as many of you know, you get $30, every time you get somebody to sign up for $30 to $40 for free trial Netflix. And if you didn't place in the top 10%, well, you got a free, you won a free anyway. So, that was actually extremely profitable for me. But, let's think about people's passions in the internet space. Like, what's the most profitable thing, like, right now? Anyone? Big time stuff. These things are profitable. Not quite what I was looking for. But dating. Let's take dating. Just for this idea. Okay, so dating is like people want to be happy, right? People want to be happy. They're so passionate about being happy for the rest of their life. There's a ton of money to be made. It's one of the biggest affiliate spaces. So another one, would be losing weight, right? Like, who hasn't slinged berries? Like, acai berries, it was like the biggest thing in the world. And it was making huge money, and people did it because they wanted to lose weight, they wanted to do this, they were passionate about just having a happy life, and all this stuff. And there was tons of money to be made from that. Another one is making money online. People want to learn how to make money online. Everyone's promising the dream, and they're passionate, they want to be happy, they want to have money, and so it's basically people capitalizing on their passion. And I know this sounds kind of evil, but, let's look at religion for a second, which, I don't mean to offend anybody, but, there's a ton of religions out there. And there's all these different deities, and they all promise different things, One, you're going to be happy in heaven and everyone's going to be there who you've ever met. You're going to get 40 virgins and do whatever you want with them in heaven and all this magical stuff when you die. And there's hundreds, if not thousands, of religions throughout the world that promise different things. And, religion is, the Catholic Church is the richest business in the world. It's not profit, so maybe you can't call it, but it is what it is. And there's been some articles, about, the Catholic Church has more money than the United States government, between all the land they own and just all the money that they get. But the fascinating thing about religion is that while there's 1,000 different outcomes to how each one portrays you die, only one can really be correct, right? And what's better than that is if they're wrong, you can't get your money back that you've been investing in all your time for all these years. There's no refunds, no exchanges, no returns. Okay, so it's a perfect business model, actually, religion, and it really does exploit people's passions for profit. Just like my Nebraska Cornhusker quiz, it wasn't really a brilliant idea, I just took an angle that I saw, and I saw an angle and I took it. So, get it? But that's really like one of the things that's made me successful, and I think I'm really kind of willing to do what others are not. And I think everybody I've met who's been extremely successful was really willing to do what their competition wouldn't. And so some of that, means hard work. You're just willing to work harder than your competition is. My wife is a great example of this. I'm probably not. But she's a very accomplished doctor. She's an anesthesiologist, and she's very successful at what she does and very respected because she's willing to work harder than everyone else. Some people, will cross the lines maybe a little bit morally or ethically or legally, but a lot of these people, they were really pioneers. They had balls and they pushed the lines and they were willing to do what others were not. Again, it might sound illegal, right? But let's look at like some of the most successful people in the world. You probably recognize this guy, Bill Gates, founder of the company Microsoft, of course. But Bill Gates started because he sold DOS to IBM before he ever wrote one line of code, right? Who would be willing to do that, So he was willing to do what nobody else would do at the time. This guy, rest in peace, sorry to bring this up, but he started by ripping off Xerox, right? He totally conned them into letting him borrow his computer. He completely copied the code over, and that was the first Mac OS, right? So totally just did that. These guys were willing to do what others had not. But how are they going to go down in history? They're not going to go down for that. And Steve Jobs is going to be remembered for one of the greatest technical people of our time. Bill Gates is going to be remembered as this great, philanthropist and, an incredibly brilliant guy and all this stuff. But they started because they were willing to do what others weren't, ethically, morally, whatever you want to call it. So, but the opportunities that we have right now to really do what others are not, and I'm going to touch this more, is really closing down. It's closing closing down somewhat quickly. And you've got these things like the affiliate tax, okay? And Missy one time said, one of the problems with the affiliate tax in our industry and defending it is 98% of affiliates don't even know what the hell to call it, right? Well, I believe it's called the affiliate nexus tax. Is that correct? Okay. Because I even did a lot of research, and there's a lot of different wording, but, this thing is coming. There's no stopping this thing. It's coming like a freight train against us. And as it comes, when these dipshit politicians, there was I think it was a senator in Colorado, and somebody from the audience asked him, what is affiliate marketing? Because he signed the bill for the nexus tax, and he just looked dumbfounded. Couldn't even explain it. But they know there's money in the water, right? So they're going to, with the way the states are, so they're going to come after our industry. They're going to come after it hard. Another thing is the FTC. All these people selling these crappy-ass products are kind of screwing it up for us all. And, you got stories of mom who bought the make money online thing, and then she got upsold $20,000 worth of whatever, and that's unfortunate in the affiliate marketing industry, and it's a good thing that's not very common, but it's that one story that triggers an FTC thing that just completely annihilates, and just creates a huge new rule set for us. Well, this is still on the phone here, right? And, she wants to know, where can I get started today? And so I tell her, there's all these forms out there. And this is how I started. And one of the ones, the main one that I started on was called Digital Point. And Digital Point was really a great resource to me because there was all these people on there that were doing all these really cool things, and I could ask all these newbie questions. And then, and this is like going back to like 2000. And then as I started to learn, and I started to contribute, I started getting private messaging and helping out these people. And one of them was named Mario. And Mario was like, I want to do a celebrity blog, and what do you think? Do you think you can make money and all this stuff? Well, Mario actually turned out to be Prince Hilton. Okay? So he started on Digital Point, just like anyone could, right? And then one day I remember I was getting these messages from Gary something and his little brother, and they were just like, our parents have this big business, and we really trying to break out and do our own thing and do all this stuff. And that guy turned out to be Gary Vaynerchuk, who I actually didn't connect the dots until the first time I ran into him in person. I was like, man, I love your show and stuff. And he was like, dude, we used to talk on Digital Point all the time. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. And he was like, I brought you this bracelet, and stuff. And that was at Blog World many years ago. So, and then of course there's my story. I was on unemployment, and overweight, and I really fell into this profitable niche and all this stuff. And it's just the opportunities that we have are just truly, truly amazing. So there's one guy named John Chow who's really an anomaly. And this guy, he writes a blog titled, I make money online by telling people I make money online. Really? Really? So John is a very good example of people who are willing to do things that others are not. After all, he's John Chow, bitch, right? He's got the shirt on again. But the one thing with John Chow that he's recently done, which I even just found out last night, he actually found out about someone else, was it's actually a brilliant tactic, and one that a lot of bloggers would never do because they're scared to make money. And so he actually, and I'll be honest, I didn't do it because I thought I was too cool for it, but it's brilliant. I'm probably going to totally steal it myself. What John does is he actually says, I'm going to set up your blog for you. Sign up through my sponsor, HostGator, and when you sign up, I'm going to send you, or you send me your username and password, I'm going to log in, I'm going to set your blog up, and I'm going to give you the same plugins that I use to make $40,000 a month. That's pretty compelling, pretty awesome. And doing pretty well with it, right? And from what I hear from HostGator, is John's one of their top affiliates. So that's brilliant, right? And I guess I get credit for it, though, right? Thank you. I heard I got the riot act last night because he came up with it originally. So that's pretty amazing. And then John, of course, pays some monkey $5 to actually do it, and then he gets all the credit and the revenue for it. It's smart, right? But he's doing what other people weren't willing to do. Like I wasn't willing to do that because I thought it would be like cheesy or something. It's freaking brilliant, So none of these things are revolutionary. They're just, again, just doing things that people are not willing to do. But these opportunities to do this, because everything is becoming so clouded, are really, again, they're really shutting down every day. And, you know, they say, like, these opportunities come along once in a lifetime. I think in our industry, when I first started, I found that they came along about once a year. Google AdWords, when it came out, I started doing all kinds of cool stuff with it. And one of the things that I figured out is that, you know, you could actually make an arrow with bold keywords that actually was really awesome and it really worked well. And the interesting thing is when I made the post about it, there was like 20 people that said, if Google sees that, you're going to get banned. Really? All these people have such fear of making money or really trying things, but I was like, I really think I could get banned? I actually emailed Google and said, you know, do you think I would get banned for doing this? And they said, well, read our guidelines. Right? If any of you ever talk to Google, you know they're so supportive of everybody. Their customer support's amazing. So, you know, but I did other things too, which were what others were kind of willing not to do. I would use like foreign characters, you know, to insert so that I could put stuff in my ad that I shouldn't, you know, and bid on trademarks and stuff like that. Which is very profitable. Other people weren't willing to do that. I did it. Anyone would say, you're going to get banned if you do that. I never did. And it was very, very profitable. And again, just doing what other people weren't. When Microsoft came out with their advertising platform, I saw a huge opportunity because I discovered that when you uploaded all of your keywords in there, the way they did their quality score was they would just let you run until you didn't get clicks, and then they would disable the keywords that didn't get clicks slowly. So I uploaded, you know, a ton of keywords for a nickel that I had converting on other networks, and they ran for a while, and then they disabled the ones, and they were only a nickel, so I was like, cool, so I deleted them all. And then one day I was like, I'm going to try it again, so I re-uploaded them, and I was amazed that they all started back at 0, right? So they all got clicks again until they slowly got disabled. I was like, this is an interesting opportunity, because, long story short, I made 30 accounts, and I bought the CNET database for every word that had ever been searched for in the last 3 years, which is 22 million keywords. And what I did is I just made a script that made a round-robin thing between all of these accounts, and it would upload all these accounts and delete them, and upload keywords and delete them, and upload, just a round-robin thing, and I just annihilated their network. Just was making, literally profiting, you know, $6,000 to $9,000 a day, and that was a magical time. And everyone would be like, dude, you're gonna get arrested. You're gonna freaking, you know, you can't do that. You know, they're gonna ban you, but they're gonna come after you. What they did is they actually made me a consultant. And I still work with them today, you know, and because they were just like, one, they wanted to know, you know, of course, how I did it, and they wanted me, okay, try it out, you know, and so they gave me a lot of leeway. And the other thing was they wanted to know how much money did I make? You know, what was my return on that investment and stuff like that. So it was really a lot of fun working with them. They, you know, went on to be a big advertiser on my blog and my comments and stuff like that. So that was interesting because most people would be really scared to do that. But I did it and it actually turned out to be extremely positive. And I found that's the case a lot with me. When Facebook came out, again, huge opportunity, which I had a lot of fun with ads, and I really pushed boundaries every which way. I had a lot of sketchy ads out there, which a lot of people would be like, oh my god, you know, Facebook would never let that run. I would do, I mean, we even did like Russian dating offers, or Russian bride offers, which is like, you know, super sketchy area. In Russia, if they passed it, they let it go, and everyone's like, oh, they're going to ban you, they're so going to do that. And one day I get a call from Tim Kendall, who I had met previously when he was Guy Kawasaki's intern and running Guy's blog. And Tim, you know, said, you know, dude, you're kind of crazy over here doing all this stuff, but we'd love for you to come in and consult with us. And even more than that, he's like, I would like to put you on our monetary board of advisors, representing the affiliate space, because we're basically about ready to ban everyone doing affiliate marketing because we don't know what the hell they're doing, and they're just completely killing our network. So I went in there and I explained to them how things work, and okay, this thing, you know, this is how they're making money on the back end, because they didn't understand any of it, you know, and so we worked with them and re-enabled a lot of stuff. And you know, I talked earlier about lifetime opportunities, which seem to be coming up every year. I mean, now I think they're almost coming up daily or weekly in our industry. These opportunities to make money, much like I did with AdWords or whatever. Now there's new networks popping up. I mean, there's so many new networks here that I'm like, what the hell? There's like all these new people I've never even heard of, you know? And it's just amazing, like, you know, these PPV networks that are coming out now, and there's all these, you know, just new ways to do it, video advertising, all this stuff, and there's just, and with everything else that I've ever done, again, there's a huge opportunity there. And retargeting, I mean, a huge opportunity with retargeting. We're seeing like 80 times ROI with our products on retargeting. It's unbelievable. So there's all these technologies out there where if you recognize the opportunity, you can jump on it. All right, so back to the list. And she's like, well, I think I missed the boat because, you know, I think there's so much competition, Jimmy, I just don't think I can do it. And I said, you know, it's interesting you mentioned competition because I launched a company in 2007 called Auction Ads, which when we launched it, there was 8 other companies that were doing and launched the exact same products, basically, that we were doing. So we built it out, we actually built it out over 2 weeks. We launched it, and, you know, you get into that dip, right? So you get so excited to build it, and then it launches, and you're like, nobody's using it, right? So what I did is I had to find ways that were creative to get users, and so I came up with a lot of things that other people or competition wouldn't do. And one of those was pay out net zero payments, right, which is pretty insane. So basically what that means is on the first of the month I would pay out for the previous 30 days worth of revenue. In today's world that's kind of crazy, and actually it was crazy even then because I was floating millions of dollars of my own money because eBay didn't pay me for 90 days after that. It was insane. Another thing I did that people wouldn't be willing to do is if you signed up and implemented auction ads on your website, I would deposit $5 in your account. Now our minimum payout was $10, right? So I figured the biggest way to get people to do it, because everyone's so lazy, is just to get them to run it. Because if they'll do it then the odds that they'll replace it someday is probably small. And if they make it over our minimum payout of $10, then odds are we're going to do well over them with the time frame. Another thing I did was I went after like all these giant leaders in the space, like John Chow and other people, and I said, you know, I don't know what you're making from here, but I don't even care. I'll pay you 10% more. You should run auction ads because I knew if these people ran it, whether it was TechCrunch or Mashable or whatever, that other people would do it, right? And my competition wouldn't be willing to do that. So auction ads is something, you know, we launched it in March 2007. In July 2007, we sold it. So, and when we sold it, it was 25,000 active publishers, generating millions a month, like 2 point something in revenue. And we sold it. And I can't disclose how much it sold for, but I was able to make 2 of my employees millionaires basically overnight, which again is something people probably wouldn't be willing to do, but I thought it was the right thing to do. And going forward, they were now vested and knew that they were a part of the company. So I was willing to do what others were not. So Melissa, the girl I got the dog for, trade for mom, right? So Mia, you know, she's just saying, you know, Jeremy, I just so overwhelmed, and I just think this is going to require too much work, and I just don't have the skill set for this. And so I paused, and I'm like, you know what? You've got the skill set because you exploited me and my passion for you for a ton of profit back in the day. I bought you a fucking dog that you traded for pot. I bought you dresses and jewelry and all this shit, but you missed out on the long-term opportunity. So goodbye. So here's what I want to leave you with today, is to recognize the opportunity that we have right now. If you look at the way we advertise from the newspaper to the internet, if you look at the way items are delivered from the locomotive to the internet, I mean, the internet is a culmination, and it's a fascinating time right now where anyone can really do just, I just know there's so many stories here. You meet people that are just able to generate so much revenue so quickly and just change their life because of affiliate marketing, you know, and all these things. The opportunity is right now, but the laws are being written right now. Our rules are being written right now. But it's a wild west for us, and we can bend rules and we can do things others aren't willing to do. So those are the 2 key points I want to leave you with. One is really, really recognize the opportunity that you have right now and be willing